Hey everybody, good evening. It's great to see all of you here today, especially for such a smaller, lesser known book. So thank you everybody for joining us for that. We're going to be talking about Zach's Mind Your Business tonight. It was a very brief campaign and dropped very unexpectedly, but did raise a decent amount of money. And it's part of his Theosophy trilogy. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It's the climax to that story. So very unusual project from your boy Zack, and great art from Kelsey Shannon. But I should not put that forward before getting to the review. Clearly biasing things, but Kelsey's art is typically great. So I guess there is a bit of bias there already, just by his raw talent. And yeah, we're gonna just kind of have a short little discussion. Not really planning anything extended. No interviews tonight. Just going to go over the book and then hang out for a little bit with all of you and wrap things up. So quiet night, Tuesday evening. Hope you guys don't mind. The people that do mind, you're all trapped here with us, and I'm going to call you out by name. Dale A. He says, "Oh no, yes, oh no, the show has started. Run and hide." Darko D13 is here. He's feeling thoughtful. Maybe he's not minding his business. What do you think? Linkovich is here. Yeah, boy. He's thinking this is an unzipped. Not yet. Not tonight. Probably not at all tonight. I'm actually really wiped. I had a really long unzipped, the last one. And I think the topics that are remaining, we'll probably save them for an upcoming Slumlords stream. Get all the CG Slumlords on for that to go over. The iconic comics drama, which everybody's still buzzing about. Wilberforce, he says, the comic no one read. Well, except for this panel. So they did read it, and they are willing to share their thoughts on it with you. So Bold Cat Studios, hey, it's good to see you. Middle Earth Storytime says, is this the breakfast burrito review program? Yes, warmed over in the microwave and filled with plastic. So that's what you can expect from our reviews. We've got the most plastic of all reviewers. Here's Twitless. He claims we're hot dog vendors. I don't know about your sausage, but mine is doing quite well, Twitless. So keep it to yourself. Sounds like a Streak House commercial in this bish. Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure. It's going to be pretty subdued, not too raucous, except unfortunately, we do have some raucous individuals joining us tonight. Oh, well, a couple of more people in the chat. Say hello to. I'm so tuned out from Zack. I haven't even heard of this book. Yeah, a lot of people didn't because it was fly-by-night campaign, up and out. And he got it shipped and delivered, but it's brief. It's only about 20 pages, so we're not expecting a lot of discussion here. Middle Earth points out, raw talent, let's keep it hetero, well read. That's a raunchy innuendo there, Edwin. I don't even want to delve into the deeper layers of what you're talking about. Dark Gift Comics says, what's up, peeps? Good to see you, Dark Gift. Thanks for being here. He watches the boring serious streams too, says Linkovich. Oh, that's great. Thanks, Linkovich. I do appreciate the loyal viewership. So great to have you around. I'm getting all the details on that particular topic well read. Yeah, hit me up. I've got tons of bookmarks to share, so I can pass them along and we can have a nice discussion over it. Speaking of a nice discussion, there won't be one to be had here tonight, and the people who are responsible for that are Twitless.
What's up?
Moonshine.
What's up?
And Afala.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
I'm just averaging my 3 categories to get my final score on this one while finishing my homework late, because I just read it this afternoon. So I'm like, and I just heard about it in the email a couple of days ago. So I'm really fresh to this one.
Yeah, you got to do the math when you read the comics. So it's real important. Yeah, a lot of people, didn't pick up on this. Moonshine, you did early, though. What put you on to Mind Your Business?
Because Zack can either write good books or good books only I like, or he can write absolute trash. So it's always a win for this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do drive a lot of discussion. The opinions are typically pretty divided on his project, so should be interesting to see what you guys think of this one. Let me bring up the campaign, and we can see where exactly it stood in terms of backers and total raised. Almost 30K, so nothing to sneeze at all. I mean, pretty much everything he crowdfunds can be considered a success by different margins. So it's successful for a small campaign, and then he's currently got First Kill, his Rambo adaptation, at about 200K with 2,500 backers, which is a fairly large success.
What I do like about Zack's campaigns is the number of dollars per backer spent. It's like only about $30. It's nice to see when that number goes down, so people aren't like paying $100 on average for a book, which is kind of ridiculous. Still, $30 is a lot, but
well, you could have picked this one up for only 15, and then
plus shipping,
exactly. But yeah, you're right. Like the number of backers is always pretty strong. 823. It speaks volume on what it means to have a YouTube channel with regular content going up and constant engagement with your audience. So
even if you do 0 live streams.
Exactly. Yeah. So he is able to keep bringing them back. And when it's a really major project, he brings them back in droves.
Well, and at this point in the game, more so than YouTube, it's the fucking emailing list, dog. I mean, you coming off that Jawbreakers from the actual explosion and heat. I mean, that's where all of it's at, is in those backers, from sending them the updates and stuff, more so than, he said, he doesn't live stream really, I think it's from the 10,000, that was accumulated initially or whatever. Do you know the numbers what the first Jawbreakers did?
I think it was almost 12,000, although obviously some of that was repeat backers. But
right, so this is like the trickle down of the skateboard going down the hill till it's like down to like sub 1,000. It's just kind of coasted off from I think it's from that initial explosion, man.
The trickle down of the skateboard?
Yeah, like the skateboard's rolling down the hill, and by the time it gets to the bottom, it's kind of just all out of juice, and kind of slows to a stop.
I mean, this wasn't only 2 weeks. I believe it might have only been a week. I think it was a week or two, and then he closed it, no in demand. So it was a very short period of time. And of course, no heads up that was going to happen. It just happened.
Yeah, I mean, there's people who have their campaigns up for years that would love to see these numbers. And if it's all in the emailing list, you can see where he might have got some suppressed backer turnout from his other campaigns. The pitch for this book doesn't exactly sell itself. He says that the synopsis is: an unfunny TikTok comedian helps a shoplifter finance his roommate's trip to Russia invaded Ukraine.
Spoilers, there's nothing about invasion of Ukraine in this book.
No, there is. I don't want to spoil the last panel, but
now we should spoil everything about this piece of shit.
Yeah, it's a spoiler review.
Well, it's going to be one of those reviews. Okay.
Yes.
And this is a special one too. I have 2 scores. I have my actual score and then my parasocial relationship score. So.
Oh wait, before we get further, Twitless, can you define a shaggy dog story for us?
It's basically a story that has no point. You end up getting to the end of it, and it's just like, so what was the,
That was the worst definite. I was expecting more from you, Twitless.
It's a so what story.
Okay, good. That's good.
Twitless F-.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I give you a shaggy dog definition?
Yes. What was the point of you being on the stream? Darko says this picked up another 29 backers on Kickstarter too.
This was on Kickstarter?
Nice try, Darko. We're not talking about that shit tonight.
Right.
Oh, they already. Twitless tries to get everyone to talk about this.
Yeah.
You talk about what? What?
Mind your business. You try to get everyone to talk about mind your business.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Twitless, why don't you talk about mind your business as you're minding your business?
As I'm minding your business. Okay.
No, not my business, your business.
So yeah, the pitch is pretty straightforward. You have like the synopsis right there is essentially what happens. You have a social media influencer who's just trying to make a viral video, and he stumbles upon a crime in progress, and then um, it's kind of almost like a regular show where things just like start off sort of mundane and then just spiral out of control by the end. So it starts off with just like shoplifting, but it ends up by the end of it with like Taliban terrorists, like George Soros style people running things, and then almost for no reason at all, just pivots to Ukraine.
Now, were any of those villains in that meeting, right? This is one in a trilogy, right? We forgot to preface that. This isn't a solo book. Like, it's in the Theosophy trilogy, right, guys? Were any of those villains in that scene, you know, where the Taliban and Mr. Green and whatever, where they're with the suitcase nukes and shit, were any of those villains meeting up in the other book when the Mohawk bitch was stealing TVs, the black chick?
I mean, it's possible.
Pandemic. Sorry, I'm like shorthanded that whole shit. Pandemic. The black chick with the shaved side of the head was stealing TVs in Pandemic. Like, that's the plot, right? Like, she gets. I haven't read it yet. I just saw the. You know,
that pretty much sums it up. I mean, Mr. Green might sort of be in Pandemic. You don't know. There's like this conference room of like all these people that supposedly are controlling. Maybe he's one of those people, but they're not named, so who knows?
Like, it felt like I should already know those people. Like,
no, you don't.
That's
really.
them, you know, from the other thing, you know. But all right, okay.
No, they just appear out of nowhere, essentially.
So,
well, because it's kind of X-Men like, you know, like when the Fenris twins or like the Reavers or someone would be just in one panel, like meeting with someone at the end of the issue or something, right? Like,
see, that's what you think. You're trying to build a story that doesn't actually exist. No, they just appear.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure they weren't, you know, in one of the other two books that I didn't read. So yeah, that was kind of random with the meetup.
Okay, Twitless, justify it.
I was gonna say Cards on the Table. I've not read the other Theosophy books, but so I'm judging this solely as an independent piece, and I actually feel like the more interconnected this piece is, actually the less I would like it. As it stands, if treating it as an individual work, just standalone, it's kind of brilliant.
Oh,
but it's brilliant for like weird reasons. And I think what's very important about judging this piece is what your expectations are of it. Because if you have expectations regarding this piece as...
I like that you're calling it a piece and not even a comic.
Well, because I see it...
Are you saying piece? Or are you saying POS? Like, I'm not...
No, I'm not. I'm saying because like I feel like this is a story I would see like as part of an anthology of other standalone stories that are meant to be just like, you know, just there. So I'm thinking of things like American Splendor by Harvey Pekar and so on. And if you think about it from that type of perspective, or like, you know, Crumb, that type of thing, where it's just this standalone thing where you get to see inside the mind of someone who has a very unique take on the world that's informed by his very unique experiences. That's where this becomes a fascinating and very brilliant, I think, satire on American society.
I mean, the commentary on American society is so flimsy. It's like people stole the TV. What else?
I disagree. But we can get into that in a moment. But that's my initial take on this, is that although I can definitely see why people would take a look at this and say this is a Shaggy Dog story, and you know, I would say I think the hardest thing would be someone who paid $15 or more and expected something very distinct and then got this. So I understand why people might feel betrayed by it. But like, if this were on the shelf at a library and you just read it and then you learned afterwards who the author was, I think it becomes much more artistically cogent.
So I'll give it some praise. I will say you could read the first 2/3 of this book and don't read the dialogue at all. The story is told just by the drawings Kelsey has presented. So like for here, this is a fight scene of the thief and the guy following him, and you don't even need to read the text to follow that what's happening in the story. That is at least well done.
Added some zipatone to the black dude, like to give him contrast, because he's doing the Lethal Weapon thing, right? Like Danny Glover, Mel Gibson, buddy cop, type of shit we used to grow up with in the 80s, right? Before Obama brought racism back or whatever. But it would have given a contrast to the two characters, because like you see in this page where they're fighting, they're both mostly white. Like the line works very minimalistic, just a shot of zip or something to make him, to darken him up would have been visually better, I think.
No, since we're talking about this, I definitely agree. One of the line work weaknesses that I found was that the book comes across as very blank and white in some cases because there's a lack of detail in it. It's very kind of sketchbooky, I guess. And I think that might have been due to the speed at which or it's the supposed speed, I guess. It's just,
it's got a storyboard feel to it, I thought, a little bit.
Or Edwin saying like a Narkel. I mean, Narwhal's art is more, I don't know, abstract. This is still, I wouldn't call it abstract. It's just quick.
It's sparse. It's sparsely populated in some of these panels, which then makes them come across as very white, which would then lead to Fowler's observation. Hey, a little more contrast, a little more something other than just white on the page.
Look at the panel of, let me see, this panel. Now that you have black, look how good that looks with the train coming in. That looks interesting to look at.
But when he works more black into the pages through inking or whatever, you get much better images.
Now, I have a quick question about this page here. As a former graffiti artist, the guy is bumping his head on the third rail and not getting electrocuted. If you'll see in panel 4 or 3 in the page on the right. Yeah, there. He should be getting the shit shocked out of him right there, shouldn't he?
Probably. If he's
because then you look at the panel following it, he's on his knees, clearly just hit his head on the third rail right there,
he has a concussion.
Oh, jeez.
No, like it's electrified. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the third rail. Like people rap about it and all the old gangster shit. It's like, don't get zapped by the third rail. Like it's graffiti slang or whatever. I guess one of the things is electrified in the New York subways and shit. So that just means like, hey, he didn't get zapped. You're like Ramon, in Beat Street. But
that could be that could have been the outside rail. We'd have to zoom in more to see, because he could have bonked his head, and then as he stands up, he's because I don't know if his position makes sense for him to actually bonk his head on the middle.
Let's talk about this.
I know it's a real important point.
This is more fascinating than the rest of the story. So
come on. That is so unjust. I think there's so much going on here.
Man, that looks great, though. Look at that shit. I wish it looked more like this all the time. Oh, well.
You don't have to be vague in your commentary, Twitless, about how you think this is.
Alas, you mostly get stuff like this. I mean, it tells the story, but
I don't want to monopolize. Like I said, my initial pitch. I want to hear from other people, and then I don't want to just blather on for 10 minutes about Harvey Pekar. So
Fowler,
I got to space it out.
I mean, I like it. I like it. When that fight started from panel 2 on the page left, I started hearing the Cowboy Bebop music, with the way that guy's standing right there. And then the way the camera angle tilts a little. It's like got into the whatever that main character in Cowboy Bebop is. I was getting a lot of that out of this fight. Some good
Spike.
Yeah, some Spike Spiegel motion out of this. It was pretty dope.
I mean, the action is good. It's plotted out perfectly. You don't need any dialogue to follow what's going on.
The main character's name is Skids, so it's not too far of a stretch from Spike to Skids.
This needs a layer of texture, though. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's flat colors or something. It's just
it's not. There's no colors, but I know. I see what you mean by it looking a little flatter.
The art seems rushed. I mean, what do you guys think?
Because the composition's pretty dope. I mean, those fingers are wacky, it's a corner little panel. It's got the good motion though.
I think this is what Zack wanted him to do, so Kelsey delivered what he wanted.
it lacks depth. That's the thing where a lot of these panels that we're noticing, it lacks depth and detail. And that's like, we know Kelsey can give depth and detail. So it's either an aesthetic choice or it was, hey, let's bang this thing out as quickly as possible for whatever other reasons. So
that's Zack. Look at that. That's Zack, man. I read the main characters in Zack's voice. I don't know if either of you guys did that shit. The internet celebrity guy, the protagonist.
I think that makes sense because like the fact that he's trying to make viral videos by just like
it starts off, it's your boy. Hey guys.
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely
Twitless reads everything in his own voice.
That is not true. I read everything in Yul Brenner's voice. Shut up.
That's a good voice to choose. So, all right, guys. So did all of you mention Ballad of No? Sorry, my internet dropped out for a sec. Any discussion on that?
Yeah, Ballad of No looks like this. Ballad of No is more interesting because it's a crazy guy who gets loose during a riot. So it's just how the world there's the satire, how a crazy man seems sane in a crazy world. It's kind of the satire of Ballad of No.
Oh yeah, he gets released from an asylum and walks into the middle of like a riot or something, right?
Yeah.
Now, how does this tie into that? Because that was the last book in this, the Theosophy.
Well, I mean, the two main characters of
hard word.
The two main characters of Pandemic and Ballad of No appear in this book, fighting the bad guys. But
the true thread that connects these books is black people stealing TVs, man. That's what it is.
I mean, maybe.
Because this guy is stealing a TV, right? Skid, or is he Mark? They're
Mark is the one stealing TV.
All right, so Mark is stealing a TV, black dude, and then they run into the chick from Pandemic, black chick that was stealing the TV. That's like the thread that they're stealing these TVs that have C4 in them from the Taliban, right? Like
what I didn't understand is why did they need a suitcase code cracker to set the bombs off? It's like, why would you even need that? It didn't make any sense. It's like, do they have a nuke somewhere as well? I don't know what it was about.
Or was that a suitcase nuke? You know,
maybe that's what I was assuming. Because like, why do you need a suitcase to set off a C4 bomb from Afghanistan? That made no sense. Twitless, can you explain this?
I know I got nothing for you there.
Yeah.
I didn't say I could defend everything in this book. I just think that there's parts of this that I think there's a brilliant...
I would say I could defend you if this story was just the beginning of them following the TV and he threw out the fight scene and all of that nonsense. Then it would be non-story story, and then I could see how you could defend it.
The parts that I found weakest were when, in fact, it derailed into that. So I do kind of agree with that assessment. But I want to say a couple things that I think are very interesting about this, and also what its significance is as a project. So I feel like this book is the kind of story that only Comicsgate can create, and crowdfunding through Comicsgate. So in SJW Comics, we'd get virtue signals. But if we go on the opposite side, we go to like
Daily... why stealing TVs?
If we go to Daily Wire Con Inc., we get counter signals. So basically what we end up with is like we get a cab on one side, all cops are bastards, or we get back the blue. And so even in our comics scene, we can see examples of this. We get either SJW Marvel, or we get sometimes stuff like Thin Blue Line, and it's very polarized. And it's like either we're portraying our people on the left like cartoon villains, or we're portraying people on the left or right as cartoon villains. Very polarized. What I like about this book is we get it's Mind Your Business is neither of these poles. It's this kind of genuine satirical musing.
It's observational. It doesn't really have a position on anything. It's just showing you what's happening.
But you're getting it from a war veteran who you can tell is increasingly alienated from the culture he defended with his own life. So the spirit animating Mind Your Business is something you could only get through independent comics. And by the end of the story, when they get swept up into all this insanity, we get more and more of how Zack sees the world. It's this sort of, I would almost say it's kind of like what Harvey Pekar would write if Harvey Pekar was a Iraq war veteran obsessed with G.I. Joe. So like because it's Zack and Zack is Zack, he can't help but derail his his story with some G.I. Joe, which is what happens when the Spec Ops people show up and start shooting Taliban people in the head, and there's bombs and nukes and stuff. So that's where I think it starts to lose some of that interesting spark. But I feel
it's
like
kind of like a channel changing quality almost.
A little,
like you're flipping through and you catch the first half of this and then flip through like 10 minutes of a G.I. Joe cartoon to some, you know what I'm saying? It's
then it kicks back.
Zack,
Then it kicks back. Yeah. But even the anti-ending at the end, the sort of insulting anti-ending coda, I think is kind of brilliant. And it ties into some of the themes regarding the fakeness of our world, which is, by the way, I believe some of the principles tied into the mysticism of theosophy. So I think what you're getting through this trilogy, I would assume, is kind of how Zack sees the world, and he describes it in terms of the fakeness of social media, the fakeness of YouTube, the fakeness of the SJWs. But you've got a guy whose worldview is very much informed by his veteran status, and then coming back and trying to reintegrate into a society that, like I said, he just doesn't feel connected to. And you can see this in a lot of his YouTube vids, and I think you're seeing it in these works. And that's what I think is very fascinating. And that's the type of story you could only get through Comicsgate, because if you got, we already know what SJW Marvel gives us, and Con Inc. is just, well, all the police, they're actually just heroes and good guys, and you just get virtue signal versus counter signal. Whereas here, you're getting a genuine guy who's just kind of like musing on the fakeness of society. It's like there's this layer of fakeness to everything. And the very end of it is just kind of a cap on that.
Wait, we got to look at this. This, Zack would wrote. Zack had to write this line.
He plugged it into my phone. Got a text. Live stream now or millions will die.
You could hear Zack saying that.
I was going to let that one go, man.
This is when it became regular show. If anyone's familiar with regular show, where it's like, oh, we just have this very mundane thing, and then suddenly it's like nukes and Taliban.
Go back up a little. That reminds me of Psylocke when she has the machine gun, X-Men 273, when they're escaping.
I love the way Kelsey draws guns. It is cool.
Extinction Agenda. They're escaping Genosha, and she grabs one of the guards' guns. It looks just like that.
Okay, so all right, so Zack may see G.I. Joe everywhere, but we can tell Fowler sees X-Men and everything.
I mean, this is the panel,
and this is the character. She's
great.
from.
This is Pandemic.
Pandemic.
Yeah.
And do we have Home of the Whopper guy? Not on this panel. I'll have to get another page. I guess everyone needs to see Home of the Whopper at least, right?
I didn't even notice that detail, so I'm thanks to Fowler for pointing that out.
How did you not notice?
That was my favorite joke.
I skipped right past. I noticed different things.
Yes, you notice all the commentary on American society.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Nobody else notices.
Yeah, you definitely couldn't get this in a left-wing comic book, I don't think, anymore.
Yeah.
Although I actually find this funny, but this is Zack again, because he was obsessed with Hamilton for like a year.
But he also hung out with Taliban people. He talked about the fact that Taliban people were more genuine to his face than the fake people that he interacted with when he came back home. And like, again, that causes this, like for a war veteran, that causes a bit of dissociation. These things are well documented about veterans who try to reintegrate into society. And you're seeing Zack work through that. So
are you saying all the main characters are different sides of Zack? So this
I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't know if I'd go that far, but clearly in this book, these things are happening. And I think it's very clear to see like the elements that he's talked about for years. Like the amount of times he's complained.
You're convincing the audience, Twitless.
Very interesting.
You got people that love this piece of shit.
Well, no, like JEC says, he says SJWs are more evil than terrorists. It's because the SJWs lie. They pretend to be virtuous when in fact they're scummy. Whereas the terrorist would just say, "I want to kill you," and that's why the terrorist here, even though he's getting shot, he comes across as more of a.
But what is this, Twitless? What is this?
All right. Well, that looks like an X-Men device. So Fowler, help me out here.
Some GI Joe toy accessory.
Okay.
No, dude, that's a weather dominator control panel.
I mean, here's
Destro.
That
the comic.
activates the BT, the broadcast energy transmitter satellite, dude.
So
Yep,
here's
right.
a commentary on Afghanistan, because we rushed and left Afghanistan. So they're being sold something from the Taliban who picked it up in Afghanistan. I mean, it's got commentary.
Oh, they left it behind. Was
Yep.
U.S. soldiers
Yep.
left it behind when they
Yep.
evacuated? Okay, that
Yep.
makes
Can
sense.
you go back actually?
That's the thing about when your comic is current to the news you read that day. Like when you read it a year later, so you don't really
pull
know
up one of his better examples. Can someone pull up the example of when they save each other from the train and they like the people are clapping, like right there was one of his most incisive observational satires on society, because these two people who are at each other's throats just a moment ago, and just they save each other's lives, and then the public is just like has this super fake reaction. They're like, where is it? Right there. Beautiful. That was the most New York thing I ever saw. Clap, 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 clap. And right before this,
and like that's how they're responding to it.
Right. Yeah. Right before this, everyone was turning a blind eye to this masked guy as he stole television sets. And they were just letting this guy loot things. And then later on, there's this one brief moment of humanity, and everyone goes like, hashtag, humanity.
Although I did find this mildly funny. Why they were fighting, this happens.
Oh yeah, yeah. The thief got his TV stolen. The guy who stole the TV gets his TV stolen from him, and he's pissed. But like the shallowness of the crowd who pulls out their phones and records everything and claps and then celebrates things that are things you shouldn't celebrate. Just think how vapid it all is. And this is the stuff I thought was brilliant, because you're seeing how Zack sees New York. You're seeing how Zack sees the people that he defended with his life, not once but twice, through two enlistments.
If we go back to what Fowler said, this was supposed to be released like a year ago. It just wasn't until like 3 or 4 months ago. So it was delayed, and that kind of ruins all the topical points in it,
Sure.
I think. But
yeah, maybe. Yeah, that probably doesn't help.
That panel messed with me the first time I saw it, if you go back, because it looked like there's 4 of them. You know what I'm talking about? There's no panel break on it.
Yeah.
But then it's just like, oh, it's artistic. Kelsey's doing a thing. But the first time through, I was like, wait, do they have like, because it looks like they're sitting across from their doppelgangers or some shit, like identical twins of them. Pull it back up so I don't sound crazy.
I'm working on
exactly
it.
I'm talking about. That panel right there. Like, see, there's 4 of them sitting in one panel, like of the same.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
There's a panel.
If you look
split.
that line up above, what Kelsey did there is actually really fucking cool. After, because like
they're like coming out of the panel into the next panel. Yeah,
it's a break, but then a turnaround. But yeah, dude, that's fucking cool. But it took me a minute to get it,
Kelsey does some really clever things with layouts. There's an escalator scene when he's first stealing the TV, and he staggers the panels as they're going down the escalator. It's just great language of comics, sequential art stuff. And Kelsey has an intuitive understanding of how to just set up very interesting layouts. And I really love seeing him do it. So I don't think he does as much of it in Mind Your Business, but the times he did do it were a real treat. And so I do want to praise that.
Kelsey's art is definitely the best about it, even if it's incredibly simplistic style from him.
Oh, well, the other thing I was going to say is that because this book is meant to be satirical and kind of humorous, Kelsey is a perfect fit for it, because his expressive, fluid characters and their expressions really help fit the tone. If you'd had, like if Malin maybe had done this book, or even Mike S. Miller, I think
Mark Brooks.
But I don't think the humor would have sold quite as well. So I think it was.
I think it's because Kelsey doesn't just take a reference of a person and then just completely copy the face. At least his faces have his own emotions.
He's cartooning more. These are more. Yeah.
I did find the Whopper panel. Did you guys show that already?
Kind of, but you could show this.
Yeah, you'll have to ask Kelsey if he added that or if that was in the script, because that was the funniest joke, was when they meet these two characters. And it sure says home of the Whopper, pointing at his shit.
It's a dick joke.
It's funny.
Speaking of
yes,
dick
and
jokes,
mind your
Mark
business is
Brooks.
said at least 6 times, I think, throughout this comic.
Oh yeah. That see, like that's the it's very the other thing that Zach's really putting on blast here is people being asked to turn a blind eye to things. Again, this fakeness of American society and how you can't genuinely call out even crime anymore. Hey, that guy's stealing a television. Mind your business. Hey, there's basically a terrorist war going on right beneath the veneer of people just clapping for no
this
reason.
crazy comic book guy stole $15 from me. No one cares.
He said it 4 times, and that was one of the things in my notes on the writing. It's like, mind your business 4 times. It's like, motherfucker, you should have said it 3 times, because it's like there's a rule. But then see, that brings me to the last page of this book.
You're gonna pull up the rule of 3 here.
Well, it would have been funny because the last one's coming. It's like, oh, they already said mind your business twice. There's going to be a last, and then you get one, and then you get another one immediately after it, and it's kind of just, it's weird.
I think he was intentionally poking your eye, Faller, like he does.
Right, like that's was bringing me to the last page where there's that typed rant of like, yo, did I write this book bad on purpose? Yeah, I did. Maybe I did. Is it on purpose to be good? It's some whatever this is. And it's kind of like a force field around the whole book, like, so you can't really be like, hey, this isn't good, or this, it's kind of
I don't think everyone knew what they were coming in by the time they got to this book. Like, you knew you were throwing your money away, but
did we want to do a reading of this?
This is brilliant stuff.
Okay, let me get a better image because Well-Read stinks at this.
All right, so if we're going to do this read through, one person needs to read the bolded and the other person needs to be the other person. So we get the dialogue going.
I think Faller should be the bolded.
I can barely even see the screen, man. You're going to have a couple other people react. He blew it up. Fuck it. Let me get my glasses. Damn it. All right, so I'll read.
Well-Read will be Zack.
That's it?
Right. Yeah, that's the end of the story.
But it doesn't make any sense.
Does it have to?
Yes, it's a story. Stories are supposed to make sense.
Says who?
Says me, motherfucker. I paid $15 for this shit.
Don't forget about shipping.
Well, I'm improvising. I added for this shit.
That's it.
Man, fuck you. I'm never buying your shit again.
I can't explain everything. It defeats the entire point.
The point of what?
The point of the story.
The story has no point. I'm getting
That's
Keanu Reeves. Hang on a ton of bags.
That's the point. Shit. I wasn't supposed to tell you that.
Who's the guy on the last page?
I actually forgot his name. He's Mark's roommate.
The black guy?
No, I'm
my bad. Who the fuck is Mark?
The black guy.
What the fuck does that have to do with? He zoomed out.
Phil. That's the name of the roommate.
Why is Phil in Ukraine at the end? Oh wait, did I miss a line?
No, you missed one. Are you having?
Are you having a stroke?
Oh, are you having a stroke?
I had to look it up on the campaign page. It's been a while.
Shit, man.
I'm gonna read this like an SJW.
Oh man.
This is like a stick in your eye every line.
Why is Phil in Ukraine at the end?
Phil wanted to be a big hero. He got killed a few days later.
Now, wasn't that an actual red pill daddy or some shit went over there? What was the name of that YouTuber? Wasn't that a thing that went to Ukraine?
I don't know.
Red pill hat or red hat guy or something. Come on, man. I know you gotta know what I'm talking about out there in the chat.
Coach Red Pill is still alive. He got
Coach
arrested.
Red Pill. Boom. Did he go over to Ukraine to be a hero or something?
He was already in Ukraine, and he was actually on Russia's side. kind of.
Trying to remember the internet a year ago is hard, man. So,
and I think he just got arrested again.
He just got arrested. He just got arrested by Ukrainian police.
Yeah.
Seriously, you're pissing me the fuck off.
Phil was unprepared for war, especially a European one.
Give me money back.
Europeans are so calm, usually, but in war, they're complete savages.
I'm serious.
Their commitment is on like day 3. Pace yourselves.
Why are you like this?
They fight like the Kaiser is still in power, and they love trenches.
I laughed out loud during that when I read it the first time. They love trenches. I said it in the full like soy voice for some reason in my head. And they love trenches. Did Mark steal the TV to get money to help Phil go to war?
Yes, to pay for the plate carrier and uniform he was wearing on page 26.
Did Mark feel bad when he found out that Phil died?
He never found out. Phil's social media accounts were hacked.
By the Russians?
Yes, for propaganda purposes. Disinformation campaign.
That's sad.
People get hyped up. Watch too many movies. Main character syndrome.
So what happened to Skid and Mark?
They were roommates for a few years. Then Mark got married.
Did they like each other, or were they just like platonic roommates? Oh wait, they drifted apart?
Yeah. But after Mark's wife died, they started a successful restaurant.
Jesus.
You asked.
What's the deal with the Taliban and that whole mess at the end? Mind your business. Oh,
Mind your business.
There you go.
Well, does everyone hate Zack now? The chat scene do.
This is brilliant. This is art. I don't know what else you guys. I don't know what you're talking about. This is art.
I have 2 scores. Do you want my by the numbers score is a 7.3. 7 for the art. It's not Kelsey's best because I'm thinking of his samurais and dinosaur covers, and some of the shit I see him do is just, the work he's putting in to shank his own shit. That's the Kelsey that would put butts in seats. This is not that same level. Although it's very cool, it's a 7, which I would expect Kelsey to be a 9, with what I'm seeing out of Shank. Writing's a 6. I was pissed he said it 4 times instead of 3. And that fucking rant at the end, it was funny, but the graphic design got a 9 and saved him. I don't know if he showed that inside cover with the guns and the fucking phone all reduced down to these fucking, like almost like Dave Aha covers, kind of simplicity. It was some good shit. Felt like a Netflix pitch. So that inside page I can see being the animated kind of opening of it if it was a show or some shit. Yeah, that page right there. Pretty good graphic design. So it caught the book a 9. I wonder if Kelsey did that or who did it. Would have to maybe ask. But then I have my parasocial relationship score, and that's rating the book as someone who's watched Zack's channel for 5 years and hangs out with Kelsey in the morning on his streams, and has lived in the same space you people have for the past 5 years or whatever.
That's a good.
And I give it a 9. Like I read it in Zack's voice for the protagonist, and it was an entertaining little thing, so parasocial score is a 9.
Nice. Tootless, do you have final thoughts?
Okay, so
Read your
on the one
comment
hand,
first.
Greetings to the almighty, well-read AS. Thank you.
I was gonna say like Asus, like the computer. So mind your business may not be worth a $15 price tag or even more, because like by the time you figure in shipping, like Zack brought that up, and shipping. So by the time you pay over $20 for this, I don't know if it's worth that. And I think that actually causes some friction with the audience. That being said, this is a worthwhile story, and I'm glad I read it. What I wish this was a part of is kind of like American Splendor. I don't know. At least when I
a
read
Harvey
it,
Picar, right?
Yeah, yeah. I wish I read it as like as just a bundle, right? I mean, or like a trade edition where it's just like, oh, this is an anthology of Zack's, shower thought comics, which really are fascinating, and it's the type of perspective that I think you can only get from someone who is like him. We're used to seeing the SJW perspective. We're used to seeing the Con Inc. perspective, and that's fine. Those perspectives are, people very much like those, depending on what side of the culture war you're on. But with Zack, you're getting something very different. It's very cynical. It's very much the type of perspective you get out of somebody who has fought in, who's enlisted twice, fought in wars, come home, and had to reconcile reality, And I find that to be fascinating. And so I'm very glad I read this. And there's, like I said, there's a type of brilliance here that I find is way better than when he was trying to ape Warren Ellis in the latter half of like Lost Souls. So this sort of genuine veteran, cynical, and at the same time, you can tell he's trying to, this might be the fart huffing part, that he's trying to articulate, I think, a broader philosophy about life, which is why I think he's titling this the Theosophy trilogy. So that's where I think he starts to lose me, when you're trying to like, oh, I'm going to make this about some sort of metaphysics. And it's like, okay, just stop. Just do the Harvey Picar observational worldview of someone that can only see the world because of your unique experiences. That being said, I do identify and I do empathize with people who paid 20 something bucks and expected a standard, maybe action adventure story and didn't get it. So I could completely understand why someone with those, that's why I said at the beginning of this review, your expectations regarding, because I walked in with this with no expectations. And so I was just able to process a very interesting worldview. But if you walked into this book with different expectations, I could see you hating this. And I wouldn't judge you for that at all.
Out in the chat, Bancroft says, is it possible he got a little too inspired by Narwhal? On my read through, I was thinking, like, what is this style? Is it storyboard or what? And I was like, is this Kelsey trying his hardest to be Narwhal? And even trying to be Narwhal, it still looks like this amazing Kelsey level, that thought did cross my mind. Because the pose when the person's on the ground and the Mark's on top of him with the gun or whatever, not Mark, but the home of the Whoppers on top of him with the gun, reminds me of that pose where the girl's on top of him with the knife in Earthbound, just the like dynamic
good
poses.
Callback.
But yeah, it felt like Narwhal was in the offices, inspiring on this one for sure, man.
Moonshine?
It felt like something that would be at home in a Dark Horse Comics Presents. I don't know if you remember those. They would have like 3 different stories, black and white stuff, Sin City, and sometimes Aliens, stuff like that. It feels like it would be, I want more of it. Like I would buy the 5 issues or whatever if this was like running through a Dark Horse Presents or something. Yeah.
This needed to be part of an anthology. And I think if it was part of an anthology of just like, stories like this, and you walked in with those expectations, I think the people who negatively react to this book would have a different reaction to it.
Moonshine, you're up.
It's my turn now. I'm not going to speak.
Indeed.
This is crap. I would not recommend buying it at all. And maybe for $1, it'd be worth 5 minutes of your time for if you know who Zack is and his standard way of not getting to the point why he talks on and on about nothing for 10 minutes. It's amusing in that sense, but you can just watch his YouTube videos and get it for free. So I don't know why you would have paid $20 for this, because you can already get that. Kelsey's art is not up to what he usually can do, but it's you can still recognize his talent in it. He can't get rid of that no matter what he does. So I do like that. I'd be more happy if it didn't have the gunfight at the end, which makes no sense. At least the non-story exists self-contained in the beginning of some guy trying to chase a guy who stole the TV, which is pointless and no one
Which
cares.
nobody steals TVs now. The biggest 75-inch TV is like $700 now, dude. Like it's not TVs aren't.
I mean,
it's like
if it's
stealing
ultra,
car stereos and shit. Like in the
if it's
80s,
ultra,
dude.
if it's ultra 4K, those get more expensive. Like regular,
like
HD
some OLED joints or whatever. Yeah, I get it. But I'm saying like most TVs are like pretty.
I don't, but I would say no one bought this book thinking it was going to be like Zack's other books, because you would have known about Pandemic, which actually was more actiony and kind of, it was trying to tell this same sort of story, but using the style of his action books, which I think is what people really hated. So I think the people who actually backed this is what they wanted, I guess. I don't know why, but I guess there's people like Twitless who actually paid $20 for this.
I didn't say I'd pay 20. That's why.
But there's people like you that will even pay $20 for it.
Now, was this the last one in the trilogy? This was book 3?
Yeah, this was the third one.
Okay.
Hopefully there will never be another one, but who knows?
Well, there'll never be another Zack, but who knows? He has been trying to make more.
And I'm glad for it. Like I said, he has like I said, there are things that you can get out of his work that you'll get out of nobody else. And I think that's interesting.
I bought $1 Jawbreaker, so I should have a new Zack book coming soon, man. I gave him another chance.
He apparently wanted to read. He had to add 12 pages because he didn't like the story progression or something. So he had to have 12 more pages drawn and colored. So whenever that gets done, it's
still Alfecci, right?
Yes, he had to pull Alfecci off whatever he was doing to come back to that book and redraw 12 pages or something.
Dude, I like Alfecci's art, man.
Yeah, he's amazing.
See,
that's why I like Grand Bazaar, because it's weird. It's like I find Lost Souls, it's too formulaic. I like Grand Bazaar because it actually is bizarre.
Snuggie says don't read it.
You should. I think Bancroft might like it.
I feel like we should have reviewed these as a trilogy, maybe though. You know,
that might be the thing to do. Yeah, to do like
a little more. I feel like I'm missing out and not giving it its just.
I think it was more interesting to hear you guys review it, not knowing about the prior two, though, because
I didn't know it wasn't part 3 though.
Pandemic so much.
You know, like now that I know it's part 3, I feel kind of you know, it's like if it was just maybe the middle one or the beginning, you know, but to know that was I watched the last one first. Like, what the?
I think it's a testament, actually. I know I'm not trying to oversell Zack here. I'm really not. But I think it is a testament to him as a creator that he is so polarizing.
I will give him credit that he has multiple styles. This is not like Jawbreakers, which is not like Iron Sights. They're all their own.
Yeah, he's trying very different things, and sometimes the experiment works for some people, and sometimes it is a big failure for some other people. But the fact that he's willing to take so many risks, I gotta admire that. So he's not playing it safe, from what I can tell.
But I mean,
I'm just glad he got to make his TV book finally. Like he's been talking about on his streams about making a book about people chasing someone stealing the TV for 5 years now. So I'm glad he got to translate those ideas to paper.
I know what you're saying, Richard Cahill. I remember this. Friggin' well read.
So is Zack just throwing things up against the wall, though? Or is he showing the same level of commitment on everything that he does?
Highlight Snuggie's comment. I wish he'd take the risk of hiring an editor.
I wasn't looking for him, but I didn't see any mistakes in the writing or.
Well, you know, like I had a RFID tag in my pocket because my wife was going to be cheating and I wanted to track her. So I slapped it on your TV. That shit was weird. It's like, if you're going to have a weird ID tracker to track your wife in your pocket, like you should have opened like with a fuck scene, and then the captions are like him talking with the clerk at the spy shop, you know, and then cut to the spy shop with him buying the tracker, you know. So but
I think it was more.
It just kind of came out of nowhere, and it's like it leads them to the spot, and it does a whole lot of MacGuffining, you know, to not be.
There is MacGuffining, but I will say that the theme here, which I think does work is, again, the idea that these people, just like how American society is not facing the problem in the room, which is the guy who's stealing televisions right in front of your face, the guy who's chasing that criminal down to try and hey, let's not let crime happen. He's not being honest. He's unwilling to be honest enough with his own relationship. And so he finds a tracker. And the American government isn't honest enough to face problems with
in other news,
the people. And so they're doing a bunch of sneaky backhanded stuff. So like the whole thing is Zack's kind of overall philosophy of how fake everyone is and how no one will address the elephant in the room.
Is this what you mean, Twitless?
Did Zack think his latest baby mama is cheating on him? Is that why that's in there?
Yeah, sure. I'm sure. Well, okay.
So what you're saying, Twitless, is it's fake, and they're not addressing the elephant in the room.
It's all fake.
I got that right.
Everything's fake.
Okay.
None of the Chekhov's guns were hanging on the fireplace at the beginning, or any. You know what I'm saying? It's completely doesn't follow.
Oh wait, there's one
any
thing
of the. I was getting into this with my wife about this. I was like, it doesn't follow any rules intentionally, but it's like, is walking a rule? Like putting your left foot in front of your right foot is like a very act of walking. Like, because when you start putting left, and then a right, like you're not walking anymore. You know what I'm saying? So like being all
shuffling.
Yeah, whatever, man. It's just like sometimes maybe those things are there because that's how stories work a little bit. And the whole like, I'm just random, man, is like 2009.
That's why this is a Shaggy Dog story. It's just a series of events. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't do anything. It has no point.
And that's the point. That makes it brilliant. kind of.
This is as bad as when Well Read reviewed 499.
Yes, does this review redeem my 499 review?
No.
Hearing
499 is worse than this because I had no expectations for this book.
But I had better takes on 499 than Twitless did on this book.
No, I like this book way more than Moonshine. It's fucking funny because he hates it. It sounds like.
I wish Smug Plug was here so there's someone with sanity could be on this channel.
To balance out, yeah.
I'm shocked, Snuggie. Well Read liked 499.
It's his favorite CG book. It's not.
I didn't say it was my favorite.
It's his favorite book.
I didn't think it was as bad as everybody says.
Well Read says about all the other books.
Is that when Well Read stopped reviewing books? He just got so much crap for 499.
I was kicked off my own review show.
I'm not going to read anything ever again.
Banned from reviewing books ever again. I liked it. I thought it was 1984 in a high school. So.
Although to be fair, Moonshine bought it and paid money.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I read it free
I
for the review.
I had to get it off the internet because I didn't back it initially, so I paid more.
Wait, did you pay $50 for this? For Mind Your Business? Oh, $4.99. I thought because we couldn't find this book on eBay. It doesn't exist. Everyone who bought it loves it apparently, except for me.
Yeah, I found the whole Theosophy collection for like $100 or $150 or something.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
There's no way it's worth that.
It's not worth it.
Like I'm doing the fucking Fry meme, like can't tell if serious or not right now.
I enjoyed this. I wouldn't pay $150 for it.
Yeah.
I would if Kelsey painted it. If it was 3 issues. Same story, just painted by Kelsey instead of
if Kelsey
just
flew down to my house and took me out to dinner, I would pay $150 for it.
I think it'd be worth it then. Hardcover fully painted.
All right. Do we want to talk about some of Zack's?
Snuggie has explained this.
Everyone is too embarrassed to reveal that they backed it to put it on one eBay. Sorry.
Oh, to flip it. Everyone wanted to flip it.
Okay, we need a palette cleanser first. Well Read, play my link. I put in private chat.
Oh, your link. Okay.
We need a palette cleanser before you move on to something else.
Sam Goyer says 499 is why I stopped buying books. Zack wrote. Ouch.
Good choice.
Well Read is a professional reviewer. Just a write-off for him. Yeah, exactly. I claim it on my taxes.
Well Read could do it for you, but he won't. He's lazy.
At this point, I'm about ready to claim Well Read as a dependent.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. Go ahead and drop all the links you like, Michael. That's why I hand out the wrenches to the creators. I want them to do that. All right, let's do a palate cleanser, like you said. So, Doug TeNapel is producing a new cartoon. He recently shared it with everybody, and
it's free
on
YouTube.
Yeah, let's preview it here.
Is every frame an NFT?
Yes, probably.
It's only a minute long.
It's every frame.
Hey, I can feel you looking at me.
Hey, it's my apartment too. I can stand anywhere I want.
True, but you can't sit there and just stare at me.
Well, I pay rent.
You're paying to occupy that room, not be creepy.
You
Oh, that's
be nice.
Nurkish. Listen.
Stop staring at me.
I'm not staring. Don't flatter yourself.
I'm going to turn and look at you, and you're going to be wrong. Putting my phone down.
Not staring.
Going to turn and look at you.
Still not. Way not. Never not staring less.
Oh, sure. You turn your head just as I was turning to look at you.
Wrongeth.
Your voice projection is even different because you're talking away from me right now.
Dogs have terrible echolocation.
Psycho.
Please stop staring at me.
All right, what do you guys think?
That's Nurkish.
It is
Yeah.
Nurkish.
That is
Yeah.
Nurkish.
Man, that's good, dude. Nurkish is funny. I don't care how gay opt or whatever he got done. Man, Nurkish was a funny motherfucker. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say on that.
Apparently he's back. Soy Ren and Stimpy.
It does seem like Ren and Stimpy. I get
Autism
that
the
vibe a little
cartoon.
bit.
Wasn't funny, but I liked the look.
I was gonna say it was almost funny, which is kind of weird.
I was thinking this is funny to Twitless, but if he doesn't like it, I don't know.
No, I didn't quite. It didn't. It like it almost it flirted with the line of funny, but then backed off. Is how I felt.
So is it just a web series
Ouch.
or is it
Wow.
on? Did it get picked up or something?
No,
What
they're just
is
putting
it?
it out on YouTube for now, I guess.
So they're staring at each other. That's the joke.
Yes, it's filled with more jokes like that. They're all like 1 minute cartoons and such.
I mean, like it's if they
Are we supposed to
experiment-
hate Nurkish? Not allowed to be excited. He's in a
cares?
cartoon. I forget the rules. Or
I gotta
who's
check
banned by the day.
Yeah, the rules. Bancroft says it was too random for him. All right.
I feel like if you experiment a little bit with it and they experiment maybe a little bit with their chemistry, they could probably get across that threshold and make it funny. That one wasn't quite doing it for me.
It does seem like it has potential because Doug TeNapel has a funny voice and Nurkish is just funny. So you assume they could get something to work.
I think Doug might be a better comedy writer than performer. I don't know if I'm right about that, but because there's there are people who can write really funny stuff, but then delivering the funny stuff is another skill altogether.
Segue, well read.
Actually, Michael Bancroft wants a little lore. He doesn't remember what happened with Nurkish, whatever it was. Surely the statute of limitations has passed. I don't think it was anything major, actually. Nurkish just first, there was some things that happened in his.
It was the original cash grab nonsense.
Yeah,
Well,
we need Cider's button right now. That
back to the lore.
1999 or whatever. Yeah, we need to
Back to 1999.
push that freaking button.
Get
And
some
then
big hair
Nurkish
in
and
here.
Cecil were going to make cash grab, and then they didn't because Cecil was friends with Ethan or something like that.
It's more though. Nurkish and Cecil were supposed to work together and write cash grab, but who was going to draw it?
Tim Lim.
Bun, right? And that was the original penance they had to pay for fucking the transcripts incident. Remember when they're like, "You said Trump comics were gay when your dad was over at your house," and he's like, "No, I didn't, guys. I said Trump comics were awesome when I was at my dad's house." And then it's like, "No, we have proof. You said they were gay here." And then he got the whole transcript and gloved to death or whatever. Dude, that's kind of an important character, Bancroft. I don't think Nurkish can just be casually welcomed back by the higher ups. I think they have a hate boner for that dude for some reason, man.
No.
Funnily enough, your boy Zack used to religiously watch Nurkic until Nurkic started making fun of him, I think.
Yep, that's how I even heard about him. He'd be like, today, guys, I'll review comics, but first, my favorite, Nurkic said something so funny today. And he would just like talk about Nurkic. It was kind of funny.
Nurkic
Yeah,
got
now he
doxed.
talks about thinking critical and comics perch and comics kayfabe, which isn't as interesting as talking about Nurkic.
Nurkic got dox threats. That's the reason why he ended up leaving. Yeah, he got a lot of heat over what was being said in his Discord. Apparently, they were making Holocaust jokes.
It's probably just the Roy Lips.
Probably, yeah.
I think the point was he made a Discord but paid no attention to it, and weirdos.
I gotta admit, Nurkic seemed like a nice guy. I never got the like, oh my gosh, this guy is so funny appeal that some people had with him. Maybe it's just me not getting the humor, but
now
people would say this guy is so hilarious. I think Zack was saying it, and I ended up checking out some videos, and I got like nothing out of it. And so nothing against the guy, I just didn't get it.
He wasn't even the one making Holocaust jokes, though. I believe
no.
What had happened is he had abandoned a Discord, maybe, and in his abandoned Discord was someone making jokes like that. I don't know the full details, but I know like it wasn't him doing it. Like he was kind of like smeared with this, like, yo, if you don't, these people are gonna do this thing. It's like, I mean, yeah, man, it's whatever. Fuck it. 5 years ago, I think. Trying to remember that shit. That was his voice, though. I remember his voice because it made me laugh a whole fucking bunch back in the day.
Is that the funny part? His sort of like voice that warbles a bunch.
No, he would just talk about like he would read the SJW comics with like the handicap heroes and all that shit, man.
Oh, okay.
The Faith.
Skaters.
All right, remember Faith? Remember Faith? The fucking
no, not
about
Faith.
the flying chick that's super big girl.
She's okay. All right, I have to defend. In
Valiant Comics, right?
In Jim Shooter's Valiant,
right, he would
Faith
review,
is a
he
much
would
better
review
character.
that type of shit. He would review that shit. Like, here's the new issue of Faith, body positivity, guys. But it was like funny in 2016.
Does anyone remember when Faith met Hillary Clinton? And
Man,
totally like, yeah,
Faith.
Oh gosh,
He
was like, oh, it was terrible.
This is correct as well. Nurkic was super pro free speech. He was a free speech absolutist. So he let people in his Discord say whatever they wanted.
Yeah, famous last words.
Yeah, you can't have that. Right?
Okay.
But not have free speech, heaven forbid.
Yeah.
Because then bad ideas will be voiced and get to be shot down.
Okay,
all right, whatever. Never mind.
It's actually way simpler than that. It's like, I'm a free speech absolutist. Why are all the pedophiles showing up in my Discord? There you go.
Sam might be actually helping us out with Zack content. He says the latest video is to make Wolverine evil, an evil murderer, and he stopped watching after about 5 minutes. The Zack video I had queued up was him getting blowback for his take on Indiana Jones and how it's going to make $1 billion.
I want to see Zack be angry because he made me read this book.
You want him on the defensive. As if he was here to answer for writing Mind Your Business.
No, I just want him to feel pain. That's all.
I wish we could interview him. It'd be a great conversation.
I always invite him. I never hear back.
Of course you don't. Who would want to talk to you?
So the last crazy page, right, with all the text that he did at the end.
No one ever wants to talk to you.
So when it did the last page with the crazy paragraph, right, that we read, it was kind of funny though that it tells what happened to the soldier on the other last page, and it's like that's kind of like all those old 80s movies where it's like this guy went on to be this, or the end of Mallrats or whatever, where they're like this guy went on to host a talk show or whatever. It's like,
wait a minute, Twitless, do you think he's trying to say this is New York now, but it's going to end up like Ukraine? Is that the message?
No, I think that's taking it way too deep. I think it's just kind of
that would have been nice. Oh, wow.
I think it's just like his sort of observational,
So it's nothing. He's saying nothing. Okay, good.
No, I think he's saying something. It's just
nothing. Yeah.
Oh gosh, actually, no. Never mind. I think he's saying way too much and not enough.
He's saying Indiana Jones is great. Let's listen.
Yeah, his film takes are like the Jim Cramer of film takes. Literally, the opposite is true.
Jim Cramer, the investor.
The Mad Money guy. Yeah.
Any stock he recommends tanks. And
Those
there's
Star Wars Air Force Ones. What are those Jordans up there?
yeah, he's just conflating a lot of random things.
The Force is female, so there's Air Jordans that say the Force, I guess. Okay.
Air Force Ones that say the Air Force One is female.
And there's females.
If a dude had those shoes on, I'd make fun of him. Like at the bar or whatever, I'd be like, hey, your shoes are kind of gay, son. Like, what, the Force is female? What you trying to do?
No, we want to watch this because it's apparently a reply to his take on Indiana Jones.
I think it's at least partly that. Yeah. I only made it through the first couple of minutes because I can't take Zach's film takes. They're that bad.
Also put it at 1.5 speed. Well read.
Okay. I mean, can we watch Zach on 1.5 speed? I'm not sure.
Yeah, we can.
Everyone, it's your boy Zach, and I'm going to get a lot of static for this video, but if you remember anything, I just want you to remember that smart toilets are going to save us all.
But no one else probably can put up
exactly.
Speed.
That's what
Make it slow. Make him talk real slow.
Yeah,
we try at half speed.
Wait, put
0.75. You don't
put it on the quartering speed.
Okay, there we go.
Yes.
You know that on Star Trek, well,
he sounds drunk. Let it ride. Let it ride.
People are really calm and chill, and they're just kind of healthy and they're balanced. I swear, I am getting
this makes this really enjoyable.
Supplements, and it takes a while because the documentation
like he puffed a lot of helium
and the
before doing this.
Research will say one thing, but then people give
had his wisdom tooth
personal statements, and they'll say, "Oh, that didn't work, but this worked." And you really got to kind of dial it in. But once you find like the right supplement, you're like, so it's just low on magnesium? That was it?
You know what I like?
That was it.
I like
50 years OCD and I just needed some more magnesium.
It's delicious.
Now I'm fine.
He's still talking about
would have been nice to know decades ago. So smart toilets are going to analyze your waste product, and it's going to be able to tell what you're deficient in. And don't worry, any problem you have.
But someone needs to do like Michael Bancroft, play Zack at 0.75 speed and animate it as some guy at the street corner, and it would just be gold.
I'm not just floating away, holding a balloon.
I've like just realized in 30 years, smart toilets will fix it. So I've done a few videos this week. Or no, one was a video and one was a community post. And I gave my opinion, and I'm getting a lot of static.
Static?
Which is fine, except for the way I'm getting it is
it's the way they're saying it. Okay.
He sounds like a drunk, bitchy woman, like with a cup of wine.
And I'm going to coin a phrase. I didn't Google it to see if it already exists.
I'm going to invent.
And the phrase is YouTube poisoning. And it's the idea that if you watch enough government name too much YouTube over a period of time, let's say a few years.
Wait, pause it.
Your opinions.
But so is this apply to Megs Visaggio's Twitter as well or not? I'd like to know.
Aren't all Zack videos?
Let's find out. We might find out. Let's see.
All roads lead to Mags.
Your point of view are all going to be skewed to the point where it's going to feel like everyone else is crazy and you are normal. And a lot of people are going to take this extremely personally. And I just want to say, you can poison yourself with literally anything. You can die from drinking too much water in a 24-hour period.
You've been drinking a lot of water.
So I gave a prediction that Indiana Jones 5.
Listen. It's called like water toxicity. Like I was trying to get clean for a piss test one time, dude, and had to drink a ton of water so I wouldn't piss dirty, like with weed in it or whatever, right? And fucking, I got super sick after drinking like 6 gallons of water or some shit, man. No, like you could die from drinking too much water.
I think there was some woman, there was a contest and she was trying to
It was called Hold Your Wee for a Wee.
Yeah, and she died from drinking too much water or something.
Oh, I heard that shit. I thought it was like an urban legend or some shit, but yeah, man.
Zach never
Hold your
drinks
Wii
water.
for a Wii. Yeah, dude, I remember that shit.
Zach doesn't drink water. He only drinks soda.
I was going to
Tiny-
make $1 billion
tiny Pepsi.
in the
He
box
drinks
office.
cough medicine. Clearly doesn't work.
This is based on some very things. I've seen previous James Mangold movies. I know they're good. They typically do well at the box office, or at least okay.
Here's why my bad take
I
is
looked
a
at the
good
box
take.
office of the previous Indiana Jones movie, and then I just did some very simple calculations. What has
Oh, you did
inflation turned that
calculations.
You did math.
$790
It's the
million
power of math,
that
people.
it made in what, like 2008? Well, that is
Yeah,
now
this is less funny now.
$1.1
He's got
billion,
conflict, so at
This
least
is when
keep this.
this is by
which
the way.
means
This is when
they
I.
can make
This is when I stopped
10%
watching.
less and still make $1 billion because of inflation.
What?
That doesn't even
Wait,
get
no,
into
stop
the
it.
factor
Stop.
that tickets cost more.
Inflation is tickets costing more, and all movies are just making about the same, even with that inflation. So you got to take that into account for any movie.
Is he
nowadays.
saying
It is-
inflation is going to make this movie profitable?
Yes, but movies are only making the same amount even with inflation. All movies, so no.
I mean, that argument, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, he's trying to say it'll make $1 billion. That's what he's saying.
Okay. But it's $1 billion in inflation dollars, not $1 billion
Yeah,
in
that's
like
it. That's-
$2005
Billion in
or whatever.
inflation.
Yeah, that's why he's saying.
Like he's getting, you know,
No
the same
wonder
amount of
Ahmed
groceries.
is always right against you.
More, which means it's easier to get to $1 billion than it used
That's
to.
true.
I don't know
But
who it
movies are
was,
getting
but
worse.
apparently someone
Exactly.
out there made a
Let's
video
speed it up to one
and
now
they
that
said
he's boring now. We can't listen. It was funny when he was rambling, but now let's just speed it up to normal.
Okay.
something like it's going to make like 620 million. So a lot of people were repeating whoever said
Sounds
that.
like
I don't
he's
know what
speedy
channel it
now.
was. But then
This
it
is-
was like people were reading
This is
that,
normal, Zack.
and then they had to like outdo it. So people said, "Oh no, it's not going to make 620. It's going to make 400." I even saw one person who said it was going to make 200.
Highlight
And then I
Jack-
was hearing stuff
Jack's
that's
comment.
clearly like demonstrably false. First, they were like, nobody under the age of 20 even knows who Indiana Jones is. Then they said 30, and then they said 40. And then it got even crazier with how much it had to make.
Okay, so Zach.
First,
hold
people
on.
were saying 750.
So what Zach is doing is he's taking the most fringe arguments and saying, "Well, this is a bad argument, so therefore I'm right." Okay.
We call that a straw man in rhetoric.
Yeah.
I mean, my kids don't know who the fuck Indiana Jones is. When we saw the trailer, when we were at the movies, where were we at? We're at Ant-Man or Mario. Oh, the trailer was at the Mario movie. And I was like, oh, cool, we'll go see that in June. And they're like, why? Who cares? Like, what? You know, like they don't give a fuck about Indiana Jones. Like, not even a little bit. There's no like toys or cartoons, or like it's not brought around them enough, you know, like in their day-to-day shit. There's no like Fortnite Indiana Jones pack or some shit, you know, like it's
Because
not in there.
it's a Harrison Ford vehicle, and he's way past his prime. You know, it's like it'll be like if they try to make more Pirates of the Caribbean movies with like a septuagenarian
Who?
Jack Sparrow. It's just like there's a certain point where that fantasy no longer works.
I think
Tyler
that means
Perry?
someone over 80.
Oh.
I'm not a genius or anything, but I'm pretty sure that's what he meant.
I
right?
thought that
What's-
was a Kentucky Derby horse or something.
Okay.
Kids have no idea who Bugs Bunny is.
Yeah, unless they are into Space Jam or whatever. That was popular with I think LeBron James, and they remade it or some shit on HBO Max. But yeah, they don't really know who he is outside of Space Jam.
Million. Then it became 900 million. And then it became $1 billion. And then it had to be $1 billion in profit. So it had to make $2 billion. And I'm just like, where is this shit coming from? And the phrase in my head that kept repeating over and over was this phrase, YouTube poisoning. YouTube poisoning tells you that the average person on the street knows every bit of trouble that Ezra Miller has gotten into over the last 3 years. When at best, not even half of the people out there can name Ezra Miller. If you show them his face, they'll say he was in a superhero movie. That's it. I guarantee that half of normies think Ezra Miller was in a Marvel movie.
All right, I
don't know.
pause it. I have a genuine question to ask. Okay, so
Don't ever say that phrase again.
whose train
Please
of
ask an insincere question next
whose train of thought is harder to follow? Your boy Zack, Matthew Fowler, or TJ?
TJ.
I might have. Okay, I set the bar too low.
Yep.
Okay.
time.
And why'd you insult Fowler? What the hell?
I know, Twitless.
No, I'm just saying. Like,
Co-panelist.
I love Fowler.
Fowler,
but-
why do you can insult Twitless for free now?
Okay,
Yeah.
you get a free shot.
Call him a dork.
I'll save it for now, man.
Oh, he's gonna build it up.
Oh, great! It's gonna be in a back alley someday.
Snipe you.
He was Ant-Man's son or something. He looks familiar.
Oh,
Of
yeah,
those
wait,
who
pause it,
know
pause
that
it,
he got
pause
in
it.
Trouble.
He was saying he did that. Normies don't know what the fuck Ezra Miller did, right? After we saw the Flash trailer, my 16-year-old son like pulls me aside and kind of leans in my ear, and he's like, "Dad, you know the Flash kidnaps kids?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, he took this 10-year-old away from her family and had like a compound with a bunch of guns." And I was like, "What?" So I don't know what the Ezra Miller story is, but you guys were kind of telling it too before about like how he took some girl from her family or something. So I don't know what
A
it means.
native
but
tribe girl, I believe.
Mhm.
yeah, kids know what it means that he's a weirdo though. So they're the ones who gotta stay out of the van. So I kind of trust their judgment, across the board. So
I also don't think you need to YouTube poison 100% of the audience for a movie to flop. Like even a 20% poisoning is pretty significant, and especially if people just start
I
giving
think
it bad reviews.
The
from
problem
that.
with Zack, it's always he's half right, but then he's 200% wrong on top of that. So it's just mostly wrong. Because sure, like they said Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was a flop. Well, sorry, wrong. But I mean, Indiana Jones, they're probably right about.
check it. They also said that Nebula was like dad bod and gross now, and I just watched on YouTube like a behind the scenes of her getting ready for the movie in a day of work, and she's a smoking redhead, and they make her bald and all this shit, and fucking like.
Yeah,
I mean, she's
shaved
still
her
fine
head
as
for the
hell,
movies.
dude. No, she doesn't. They tie it up every
Oh, they
morning.
did.
Like it went through her whole process. She gets up at 4 and goes to these for like 8 hours of makeup and shit. I don't know. I randomly caught it though, and I was like, man, this bitch is not busted. Like, what are these people talking about? Like, it's just weird.
Sam Goyer says the fact is no one but 40-plus-year-olds care about indie, and most likely won't watch because of how Lucasfilm is such a disaster. That's true.
Well, yeah, we all watch Crystal Skulls, so we don't give a fuck. Like, you can't break our indie hearts any worse, at this point. So,
was Guardian successful? No one is talking about it.
Actually, it's already at 700 million. It's probably going to hit 800 to 850.
Is that inflation bucks or regular?
Yeah, inflation bucks.
Velvet says the new Indy is also not a Harrison Ford vehicle. It's a Phone Waller Bridge vehicle. So that's the female actress. I think
Phoebe.
Waller Bridge. Yeah. I mean, as a franchise, it's a Harrison Ford vehicle. I agree that what we were hearing in leaks made it sound like it was a Phoebe front and center. But I think the scuttlebutt is that the test screenings were so bad that they made Kathleen Kennedy go and make a bunch of reshoots to basically make Indy front and center more. So I don't know. We'll see when. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how much of that is true or not.
Yeah, but part of the problem is because of COVID, there was like all these new things added on the films. That's why their budgets look so ridiculous. They're like 200 million or stuff like that because of all the stuff they had to do in addition.
Well, being into that documentary I just watched, they had separate makeup trailers for like, instead of like just like a few makeup trailers, there was just like each actor had their own individual, like all these COVID precautions they take probably inflate the budgets like ridiculously. more staff, more accommodations. You know, it probably goes through more energy or what. You know, the whole shit. It's just overspending, man.
And I think Disney was poorly ran. That's why like Disney is like at the top of the chart of just overspending on all their movies because they thought they were invincible when it's like, no, people wanted to hear the end of the Marvel story. After that, you lost 30% of your audience just at baseline.
I mean, isn't overspending and running their franchises into the ground just like
Their MO.
Yeah, their MO. It's just business as usual for Disney. They've been doing it since
Iger put that process on crack though. Like he bought up all those stupid properties that they didn't need, like Fox. They never even used them for anything. And then they bought up Pixar and they ran it into the ground. And that new guy Chapek, when he came in, they spent $2 billion on that Star Wars hotel that now they're closing. So yeah, just spending on dumb little pet projects or wish lists seem to be the thing that they do. And now doubling down on all the woke stuff is just hurting their bread and butter. So yeah, they excel at wasting money basically.
JEC makes another point that they had to take out loans, and since they delayed it, they're just paying more and more interest on these loans. That probably matters.
Is he talking about those PTP loans or whatever? PPP, yeah.
I'm sure you have to borrow though to finance these movies, and you wait for the
course.
box office sales to pay those back. And
so if you're delaying it 2 years, you could just keep paying up those interest rates.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be hurting. They're going to be going under like the regional banks.
One can only hope.
Almost all of them would just think, oh, I think he got arrested. There is almost zero awareness of Ezra Miller's controversy
Let's skip ahead a minute.
Among the general populace. Indiana Jones is going to do great. The Flash is going to do good. Because the Flash is
no, he's got that backwards. If any,
then the other one
great,
is I was going to
be the Flash.
He just Kramered it.
Yeah.
Flash is gonna destroy everything because of that Michael Keaton Batman shit. Every 40-year-old dude is gonna go see that shit. Batman '89 was like an event when I was a kid.
See, like I think he's got that power like Kramer has, where it's like you've cursed it now. You say something like, "Oh, I think the stock's gonna totally go up tomorrow," and then it tanks, and so it's like, "No, this movie's gonna make $1 billion." And it's like, "Oh no." Maybe it would have, but you've just doomed it.
I think Indiana Jones is the best bet. I don't think anything else is going to... Not Indiana Jones. The Flash is probably the one that's going to do the best. I don't know what else is going to do better than that.
What Indiana Jones comes out last, too, though. So what's the week after it? Because a lot of times that drop-off happens when the next... Because what is it? Spider-Man's this week, and then next week is Flash? Or is it... There's 4 movies in June coming out. And the
Oppenheimer's coming out. I mean, that's not going to be as high as the others, but
it was Flash, Spider-Man's this week. That's going to be big. I think Spider-Man's going to kill all of them. Like that's the thing the kids are the most excited about is that Into the Spider-Verse shit. That's all they're talking about. The Sony game was announced just a day or two ago that everybody's losing their shit over.
Have you seen the art in the Miles Morales Spider-Man? That stuff's great.
The new movie, you mean?
No, the comic right now.
Oh, no, I'm not reading current Marvel comics at all.
I mean, I don't know about the story, but the art looks amazing in that.
Oh, yeah, I have seen that on social media. It's real dynamic, right? Like almost like a Chris Baccello or I don't know if I'm saying the right Chris, if it's Baccello. Yeah, no, Baccello.
Is it Baccello or...
Bacalo, yeah, but I always get him confused with Chris Pacheco, who's like a real different kind of artist. I'm thinking of the graffiti style artist guy that used to draw, X-Men and New Mutants and shit. Bacalo.
It does make John Romita Jr. like, I think he's done.
I wish he'd come on, Phil, but no, Zack never accepts the invites.
You send him the message, stream or you will die or whatever, like from the book.
Or millions will die.
We're holding your dog hostage.
Right.
Yeah.
We just need to offer him those hot dogs he likes or the breakfast burritos or whatever.
Oh, yeah. A year's worth of breakfast burritos.
Exactly.
There we go.
Conversation with a friend, and he mentioned this thing about the Force is female was a slogan for Nike. it wasn't Kathleen Kennedy's idea. Then I Google it, and it literally takes like 1 second to find voluminous evidence that that is true. So Nike has a brand called Air Force Ones, and in like the beginning of 2017,
I have no idea what he's talking about right now.
Oh, he's saying that that's just a Nike promotion. That's not a Disney promotion. That's
It's not actually
an effort
yeah.
for Kathleen Kennedy to get her whole crew like being go girl power. Like they're
Except
just
that
actually doing an ad for Nike Air Force Ones.
Except she's totally wearing the shirt as a piece of messaging for the direction she's taking things in, and that's the direction she took Star Wars in. So it's like, don't gaslight me, Zach. Come on.
It's like Sarah Palin saying, "I can see Russia from my house." It's like she never said that. That was Tina Fey, but it works.
Right.
How much are those Nikes worth on eBay right now? Are they collectible? Are they hype beast status or what? Like what? Look up.
Are you
Remember
are you
when
shopping?
Zack
Are you
used to
shopping?
No, I'm just
hype-
wondering. You know, sometimes weird ass shoes are collectible for some reason.
They
Those
went
might be worth
woke and
$5,000 or
went
some
broke.
shit.
All right, well, let's Google it. Let's find them.
But remember when Zach used to do Hype Beast, where he actually talked about his comics on a video and not just bury him in the middle of another topic? That was nice. He didn't even have to live stream. He would just talk about his comics.
I like when
well.
you just straight up review Marvel comics and leave them in like strange places, like on top
Oh,
of
I wish
stands
he-
and alleyways and shit.
I mean, I'm watching Thinking Critical because at least he reviews comics. Like, Zach, that's what you're good at, not this bullshit. You can't review movies, so stop trying. Or predict movie box office returns. Why is he even trying to do that?
I agree so much with you right there. Just stop with the movies. Or at least understand the, like, here's the thing. Either stop with the movie takes or understand that your movie takes are
Fucking
totally
Bancroft.
cringe and lean into it as like, hey, I know my movie takes are cringe, but like here it is anyway, and hope you get some entertainment value out of it. But he's like saying, oh, audience, my film takes are actually not cringe. He's pulling the actually, and he's trying to make like a 10-minute video to say,
You know what this is like? This is like if someone wore a shirt that said "Home of the Whopper" pointing to their dick, and Zach came up, "Oh, that's actually a slogan of Burger King." You were fooled all along.
Now I got a
my
question. Hasn't Star Wars always kind of been pro-female though? Like
Yes.
Princess Leia like grabs the gun and gets to business like in the first one. She's like, because Luke sucks, right? In the first one, Luke kind of sucks. Han Solo's cool, and then Princess Leia's cool. But
no, I just
watched him and takes the blaster. It's like she was already calling them idiots, when they got trapped in the garbage chute. I mean, all that shit was there already.
I just watched the OT. That the Force is female is a new thing. Like they were pro woman in a sense, but like the
Zach
men
should
got to
sell
be
that shirt,
heroes.
I agree.
Men got
Is that
to
a
save
Nike
women.
thing though that Nike did and they're wearing as a joke, or is that something Nike did for George Lucas? Like what is those shoes? Like look,
they're wearing
up.
Nike shirts, basically, I guess.
Right, but they're Air Force One shirts. They go with those
Right.
kicks that are right there on the side.
It's part of the campaign for the shoes, but they're wearing it for Star Wars because it works.
Right, but what I'm saying is, did Nike do a Forces female shoe, and then they thought that was funny because they
Seven
want to
has a
make the
good
Force
point.
female, so they're wearing that shit ironically,
yeah.
or did Nike like sponsor it? Like, what's the story about it?
No, I don't think Nike was sponsoring Star Wars.
Because I've seen that picture a million times in videos all over the fucking
All right,
the
let's Google
bread
it.
tube spaces, and I had never seen the kicks with it. Like, what are those Air Force Ones? Like, that's the interesting part of the story to me.
Yeah, and Leia choked out Jabba, who's not in the chat right now.
Who was sexualizing her and like getting rapey with his tongue?
No,
shit.
I'm gonna blow your minds here. Okay, so metaphorically speaking, what is Jabba?
Troll
like
in the chat.
Kingpin.
He's a giant phallic.
boss.
He's a giant phallic symbol. She is whacking off the giant's phallic symbol. She's actually serving the penis. So I'm sorry, but your big feminist moment is actually serving the patriarchy.
You academics think everything is phallic.
I mean, lightsabers. Come on, lightsabers are little like erections. Like You
Yeah,
know?
Can't
like,
even go to a math class without hearing about phallic symbols. It's like, geez. What if I told you Star Wars is gay and always has been? Kit Fisto, the only cool character, says Phil. Mike is here to throw us all for a loop. If CG is no longer loyal to your boy Zack, why is CG supposed to be loyal to the boycott of Kickstarter?
So apparently Air Force One is just women's shoes in general. It's what they're a
No,
women's
Air
brand.
Force Ones are just what Jordans are called, or like the first Air Force Ones. They make female ones.
Yeah, there's just female ones. I assume that's what the campaign was for.
No, they're like embroidered if you look at them on the side.
Oh, yeah.
And they
that's
say
why.
the Force on one side and is female on the other. Sorry, I collect shoes and sell used shoes and all that shit, man. If that's like leaking into this
I feel like
story,
your boy Zack is just
wait.
mind fucking us right now.
Do you hang out on street
He
counters?
intentionally did this to us.
Do you hang out on street corners and say, "Hey, kid"?
No,
wanna buy-
I'll go to launches and like wait in line and shit to get like the new Air Jordan 4s or shit like that.
Size 10s.
This is what you did to this stream, your boy Zack. See what you did with your tangent about shoes.
You've destroyed us all.
Before The Last Jedi came out, they started this campaign. The Force is female. The future is female was a thing that had been around since like 2015, 2016, kind of related to Hillary running for president. So they just changed out one word. And I got really angry because even though I thought the coverage of Kathleen Kennedy had been massively overblown, I actually believe this was true as it was presented. The dominant myth is Kathleen Kennedy wanted to tweak the noses of the male fans, so she had all these T-shirts created, and she wore them at some sort of, I don't know, press conference or movie premiere. No, it was a Nike slogan, and they sponsored this tiny little film festival, and her husband is producing a movie about the life of Phil Knight, the co-founder of Nike. So I found this out at like midnight. I did like a couple minutes of research, found some screenshots.
Oh, couple of
and
minutes.
then I put it up. I go, wait a minute. This is not as it's been presented. And I got
it's called spinning a narrative, Zach. That's kind of how the internet works.
My head. And the thing is, all I did was just present a bunch of like facts and questions. It's like, wait, so this happened, so this happened, so this happened. So I got a lot of sarcastic responses, but I also got a lot of just crazy conspiracy theories. It's like, oh, well, she knew what she was doing. Look, I know she's a super villain to you, but to her, her family, her friends, she's just a person.
Just like Megs.
It was a Nike slogan. Nike was sponsoring an event.
Can you pause it for a second?
Her husband.
Because like this actually relates to the comic we just reviewed.
This is the bitch that saved Star Wars in the editing room, right?
No,
Kathleen Kennedy? No, hell no.
She used to ride Steven Spielberg's coattails.
No, because like, didn't a woman save Star Wars in the editing room?
But it was
that's not
Kathleen.
this bitch.
No.
Different bitch.
No. Yeah.
She was involved in some of the earlier Star Wars, but she didn't save them. No.
What is she? She's been with them since the old days.
She was with Lucasfilm.
Yeah. Well, she was a showgirl or something like that, like a dancer, and then somehow she ended up as like co-producer on a ton of Steven Spielberg projects, like all the indie films and a bunch of stuff he did. And so she's just kind of been like a tag along for ages, and they gave her the keys to the kingdom.
Not they. George Lucas gave her the keys to the
that was Lucas's ex-wife that saved Star Wars.
Lucas and Disney, like that was part of the deal, is that she would run it. That was the only way he would trust Disney with it, is if she would get to be the one to steward and shepherd it forward. So they gave her the keys to the kingdom. But yeah, like she never did anything. I think she did one thing on her own, and it was a flop, I want to say. But most of it was just her co-producing with like big producers.
Kevin Smith has a really great talk on this when he talks about Wild West. And he talks about this hairdresser who just failed upwards. And he says, in Hollywood, you just fail upwards in many cases. And this guy was a hairdresser, and suddenly he was just like making Wild West and just made a complete disaster out of it. So it's interesting how some industries work where you could just fail your way to victory. And as long as there's enough money flowing, I think that's the real key. If there's enough money,
you said something funny, Twitless. Good job.
Okay.
Oh, the PA. Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, she used to get his coffee or whatever. Someone's saying in the chat. I get it.
Right.
Is working with the co-founder of Nike. Yeah, it's a little cutesy, like, oh, haha, I'm working on Star Wars. Oh, yeah, the Force is female. And then I saw someone, it's like, well, she needs to clarify. She should have, like, what is she supposed to do? Hold a press conference? Hello, I'm Kathleen Kennedy, and I just want to state that the Force isn't female, not specifically. Like, what the hell? The main thing I look for is if someone makes a mistake, is that did they repeat it? Now, yeah, the optics aren't great if you already hated her and if you already had a problem with her entire era and all of her leadership and everything. But to the average person, that's just like a t-shirt worn on a single day, half a decade ago, for a specific reason. And I got really bothered. I felt bamboozled. But since I'm a veteran, a lot of my analogies are going to be related to my war experience. And I was like, it's like going to some soldiers in Afghanistan in 2002 and saying, so you've probably heard the rumors that 60 Minutes did an expose about how Bush ordered the World Trade Center to be knocked down, and it was an inside job, and Osama was on the CIA payroll.
He was Tom Osmond. His name's Tom Osmond. This is fucking dialysis and shit. Like he had kidney issues, and we flew him over here and fixed his shit up. Read "Behold the Pale Horse" by William Cooper, or look into Hour of the Time. Listen to William Cooper shit, man. That tells all about that Taliban, fucking Tom Osmond, CIA asset, Osama bin Laden shit, man.
Okay, here's the thing that I think is funny. So Zack is used to getting criticism on his comics and stuff, and he can deal with that, I think. But like his film takes, he does this whole, I'm sorry, this is a cope video. He is coping so hard. And he is like, he's equivocating the whole like, oh, well, the people who disagree with my film takes. And he's equating them to people who are like, you know, oh, you guys are the 9/11 conspiracy theorists and stuff. This whole rabbit hole to just cope with the fact that people are calling your film take crap. Like, come on. Like, you don't even have to take the L. You can just say I disagree. But geez, Louise, do you have to go this far?
And I mean, this one image isn't the key that opened Pandora's box. Like it's reflected.
Twitless. Remember how I said I owe you an insult?
Oh no!
Did you just say "Jeez Louise, motherfucker"? The fuck is "Jeez Louise"? Are you my Aunt Flo from 1963? All right, that's it. I owed you a mark it down now.
We're even.
All right, continue.
He sounds like Aunt Flo.
Shut up.
Yes, that's all true. But it's still good that we're here and we're fighting and dying because the Taliban doesn't let women read.
Read what?
Read this comment.
Sam Gloria says, Yak. Oh, sorry, not Yak. Zack is a YouTuber first. Publisher second, chronographer third.
I'll bring it right back to the shoes, guys. I'm telling you, it's the shoes.
Oh, that's why he knows about the shoes.
It's the shoe
that
store.
Makes sense.
Right. Oh man.
Well, I was there anyway, so I picked up a couple of pairs.
And I noticed they were embroidered, and they said the Force.
They had some stains. I just wiped them off.
And as I spanked the woman with them, I looked on the other side and it said, it's female. Oh, man. I'm sorry.
They were for spanking females.
Oh, Jesus.
I feel like that whole the Force is female myth about it was a purposeful and antagonistic. I thought it was the equivalent of ask me about my feminist agenda, when it was just somewhere in between a coincidence and a lighthearted joke. Like, that's a huge matzo ball. And all I keep thinking is, I think we all need to use YouTube less. Have like one day a week where you just don't use it. I recently used this app called Freedom to kind of break a lot of addictive behaviors I had, with just constantly checking apps and
Pause
websites.
the video.
And
I think Zach thinks everyone is like him, that you actually need an app to stop you from perusing Megs Visaggio's Twitter all day, every day. No,
Isn't he a TikTok addict?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like most people just stop and they just have fun on YouTube. I don't think he understands that most people aren't like him.
Most people don't have OCD.
Yeah.
I did it like this. At first, it would be like 1 hour, and then it would be like 4 hours. I worked my way up to like 24 hours. And it's kind of amazing how quickly you can break a cycle just by going through one 24-hour period where you don't do that thing that you've done 5, 10, 20 times a day for the last 5 years.
Poor
And
Megs.
you would think there would be this great rush. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to go read every tweet. But then you're just like,
Of Megs.
well, I made it 24 hours and it was kind of fine. I mean, I mainly just need to check my email. Okay, apparently there's some sort of promotion for Ryobi tools at Home Depot. All right, that's cool. I'm glad I checked my email and I didn't miss that.
Now you know how I felt reading Mind Your Business.
Oh my gosh, my organs are just.
What are the chances he's going to make a video about us doing this video?
You don't understand
I hope
this. This is art. This is art, Twitless. I appreciate it. It's so great. I love the artistic takes he has.
Yeah, it's a commentary on American society.
How dare you, sir, use my own words against me?
That's
I
foul.
gave this book a 9 and a 7.3, and I still feel like a bully, dude. Like, what the fuck is going on right now?
I mean, I think there's only one other person like Zach, and his name is Liam Gray. You both hate and love what he does all the time.
Okay, so when the character in the first few pages was faking eating the fake candy bar at the drugstore, right? Did anybody think about the fake drinking of the vodka that Liam did?
Yeah, see? Wow, that's a good tie-in, yeah.
There just felt like a lot of little things that were kind of like that in there, though, man. So it's kind of funny.
So you think the main character might be Liam Gray?
It might be the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, Liam claims he's chasing criminals across his city sometimes, so maybe it is him.
Sam Goyer says even IGN gave Indie a bad review.
There are certain films where it suddenly becomes okay for the access media to hate on it, and I'm wondering if Indie is like that film, because normally you get all of just the oh my gosh it's so amazing takes on it, and because of the way access media works, you know, they're incentivized to give fluff reviews. Once in a while,
did Zach pay you guys off and give you a free copy?
I was gonna say, you can get paid to fluff reviews. Hit me up
around here.
I didn't anyway. So, but there seems to be certain films, and suddenly it's like, no, it's okay to dogpile on this one, and I don't know why it is. Maybe Disney didn't, the checks didn't. They wasted all their money on the movie and all their failed projects, so they don't have enough.
Harrison Ford's going to be dead in a few years, so it doesn't pay to get goodwill with him. So.
Well, even if you make Indiana Jones a white chick, you can't like really wokeify it because it's just like a white person with a whip, like running around whipping people. Like I don't think that can ever hit the streets the same way Force Jordans can. Like I don't see it happening, man. I guarantee you, it's going to be the Spider-Man movie all month. It'll probably out-earn Flash and all that shit. People are hype as fuck about that Spider-Verse shit.
No, Miles Morales isn't popular. What are you talking about, Fowler?
Kids love Spider-Man, dude.
I hate Spider-Man.
I know 40-year-olds
don't do this to me.
Hate Miles, but kids like Miles.
Apparently,
did he promise?
Why do you think they want to
visit
force all that
store?
protect trans rights and secret shit in the background of the new one? Because kids love it, so they need to hide it in there. Like where kids' eyes are, they can't hide that in Indiana Jones. No one gives a fuck.
Are you sure it was intentional? Was it like Ethan Van Sciver writing sex on every panel of an X-Men comic or sex in the Lion King movie?
I don't think you can get away with that with movies, like animation cells. A lot of people.
I think dildos in the Little Mermaid are real, like hidden in the background of the first.
Isn't there a one frame? Isn't there a one frame nip slip in Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
The laser disc, and there's also some weird fucking dick in the Rescuers, like in the background of one of the apartments. If you pause the train, man, sickos have been working in that field forever, doing weird shit like that. Man, it's part of the game, you know. That think it's funny to hide shit or, you know, whatever. You watch Fight Club, right? They did that with the splicing in of the moment or whatever, just to fuck with people. Some people just want to see the world burn, man. You know what I'm saying?
Or give you subliminal messages of penis when you watch kids movies. So
yeah, or when they're choking a giant slug.
Exactly.
On the limit to how much YouTube the human race can absorb. And I see this YouTube poisoning in all different directions. Eric July just announced that the oh god, I'm blanking on their names.
Although the Nike
Orca,
swoosh, Nike
Stoza.
swoosh, you know, the logo, the swoosh, that's a whip in mid swing, you know. So Indiana Jones should have capitalized that and made a pair of like Nike whips.
The force is white, you think?
The force is whipping you, or Indy is whipping you.
I mean, the shoes are white. It's the force is white.
The
right?
force is massa.
The force is a white woman. Oh gosh.
Something Eastern European. Saska. The Saska sisters.
Yes.
Who are these horror filmmakers, but they're also comic book writers.
What
And
is
the-
he talking
and he
about?
just announced
Wait,
that
pause
they
it.
are
He's
doing.
talking about Ripa, and Yaira is being written by the Saska sisters.
Okay.
That's what he's talking about.
Oh, okay, thank you.
That sounds
Comic
like
book.
that. That sounds like it passes all diversity quotients. Just
It
in
does,
syllable,
yeah.
syllabic count per name.
Isom is female. Okay, continue.
Now, I don't have any insider information, but considering the levels that Eric July works on, I'm kind of thinking this is going to start with comics. They might end up doing horror movies. Horror movies notoriously have an amazing profit margin when they are successful.
Yes,
I mean, we're not
'cause
even
they're
talking
cheap,
about 10x. We're talking about like 20x,
because they're very, very
like
cheap
making
to
like
make.
20 times your investment back. So I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And then I went, and the usual suspects were just saying the most insane things. And I was like, this is also YouTube poisoning. Like, nobody would say this. It's too much.
See, now
It's
this
too
is
much
the
of a
insane
fake
things I want to know. He's not elaborating on this one.
Because he's going to alienate a bunch of his audience, and he's trying to cope because they gave him crap because he said Indy's going to make $1 billion, and everyone said you're full of crap.
It might make 500. You know, that's
Dude,
about it.
YouTube poisoning would make a great name for a horror movie too. You could film it on cameras and phones and use screenshots.
Will
and
it be
YouTube
about
for all of
internet
it.
gas?
Maybe.
I feel like YouTube Poison would be a
Starring
good
Ethan Ralph.
an indie garage band or an indie pale ale.
I can see a pale ale with the fucking YouTube logo on the fucking bottle, looking all
YouTube
drunk.
Poison.
Yeah, man, I see that. Anything's better
Pearl.
than this fucking video. We're making up new fucking indie micro brew companies. And shit
Let's
over here
get
at this
through it.
point.
Finish it off. Well,
Yeah. There's only a minute left.
Where, like, the average person can tell you how many times Ezra Miller has been arrested and for what. When in reality, most people can't even name him.
Wait, why
They
is he
think
talking
he might
about
have
this
been
again?
in one of the.
YouTube poisoning. It says.
Why do I feel like we went back in time? And Zack doesn't make any sense when he tries to make an
I
argument.
feel like you rewound that 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was like,
listen
what
to
the
it
hell
again.
happened?
This
bro.
video loops over and over.
I told you his
Is this
train of
hell? Does
his
this
tr-
video just loop forever?
his train of thought. I swear, it is painful to follow sometimes.
It all has to do with breakfast burritos. Focus on
Smart toilets. This started with smart toilets.
Yes.
Good gosh.
Ant-Man movies. And if they do know he was in trouble, all they know is he got arrested, I think. Real people have real problems. They don't have time for
that
stuff like that.
exact same set
If
of
Yeah, you
Indiana Jones
rewound that, dude. I
words.
heard that already.
He said like 17 words in a row, exactly the same. What?
Well, when you so that makes sense in the fact that when you are just freestyling your thoughts and your videos, you repeat yourself. So like that's what he's doing. He's just
But
kind of
usually
like
when you repeat yourself, it's not exactly the same. This is exactly the same. It's almost like he scripted it this way.
I don't know.
5 doesn't make $1 billion. It's going to be damn close. It's going to be like 930 million. But I noticed that people were already what I call pre-excusing, where they're trying to make these insane numbers that it has to make to be profitable, which went from 750 to 900 million to $1 billion to $1 billion in profit to be profitable, which is just, that doesn't make any sense at all.
His video.
He did. It's in inflation bucks.
And my torment, please. Just
I think he knew
anyway,
no
I
one would watch it this long, so it's like I'll just extend the length by putting half the video.
40 seconds, please.
TLDR'd this at the beginning and just said,
yes, you could have.
Take a chill pill, Will.
You did it. You actually did do
It's not
that.
that deep. Remember 15 years ago? It was cat videos and country bumpkins showing you how to change out your spark plugs. That was it.
Snuggie. He said
It doesn't
they'll
need
make
to be this super
930
emotional,
million.
almost religious presence in your life. I do think Aquaman 2 is going to severely underperform, but that's not because of Amber Heard, but just because people don't talk about Aquaman. It was just a very specific thing of its time. So anyway, First Kill graphic novel, link is in the description.
Oh yeah,
Thanks
and
for
I have a
watching.
book
Bye.
to sell you too. That's actually Rambo, but it's not in the title, so you would never know because I didn't tell you it was about Rambo.
All right. Well, Red, I am never coming on your show again. Done.
It's going to be all Zack content all the time from now on.
Tell us how you
ended
enjoyed
his
his
stream.
artistic talent in producing that video, Twitless.
Yes. What
Should've
social
ended it at
commentary?
the shoe store jokes, man. That was the peak.
Pre-excusing. Some might call that inoculation.
I can't wait for him to be so bloody wrong about this and then him making another cope video about how, oh, actually, guys, my wrong cringe take was totally based.
Disney had about 4 back-to-back flops, and their streaming service lost subscribers. Indie must make at least $1 billion. Yeah, I mean, all their movies lose money lately.
Aren't we supposed to like not be counting people's pockets and shit? Whatever. Like, feels like we're trying to worry too much about like what they're gonna make.
Well, so that's the show for tonight, and that's your boy Zack. We're going to be doing
talk about the topic everyone in comics.
What a downer ending! Good lord, I feel dirty. Like I
told you we need a palate cleanser with the Doug TenNapel animated short. I tried to help.
I can't play.
Sorry for recognizing Nurkish. I don't know if he's.
Let's
trying
watch
to
another one. We can watch one more to feel good.
Okay. I think there is another.
There's
part.
like 5 of them or something.
Okay, let's watch one more. So here we go, and let's keep watching.
Oh, good. We get to watch an ad because it doesn't have ad black.
Did you say ad black?
I have an ad blocker, but all it does is make the screen black. It works so weird.
That's why it's ad black.
What browser do you use? Use Mozilla.
Google Chrome.
Okay, you need get on Brave and use uBlock Origin.
StreamYards doesn't work on Brave, so that's. I mean, I only use Google Chrome because of.
Okay, let's watch the video. We don't care.
Decorate this dump of a living room, so I went to Hobby Lobby, and they didn't have any cow skulls, so I went to a pawn shop and bought us a cool cow skull.
That's a dead animal head.
My name is Jared, but friends call me Jeremy.
Oh, crud, it talks.
I didn't hear anything.
Only you can hear me, Beckel.
He says only I can hear him.
Nice try, Burke. You're just saying it's haunted, so I'll get rid of it.
Tell the cat that I am a cursed soul entrapped in the mortal shell of this cow skull.
Why don't you tell him yourself?
Who are you talking to?
Only you can hear me. There are rules.
Only I can hear him.
Why?
I don't know. Apparently, there are rules.
There are.
So I'm struggling to figure out who the voice of the cow skull is.
That's the Mystery Science Theater guy, probably, that they hang out with when they are trying to convert Nurkish to Christianity.
No, it's not him. No,
not that guy.
It almost sounds like Dillard.
Sounds familiar. Like I've heard that voice somewhere before.
Mike Nelson. That's not Mike Nelson.
Was that the Mystery Science guy?
That's yeah. Mike Nelson is the Mystery Science guy. That's not him.
Rules, exactly. You heard me.
Please be quiet.
Why do I have to be?
I was talking to the cow skull.
My name is Jeremy. Calling me the cow skull is kind of impersonal. Plus, I'm technically a soul living in a cow skull. It's not my identity.
He says.
Jeremy says.
Jeremy says. You know what? I can't take this anymore. Wow. I suggest you take the cow skull back to the store.
You're a total grouch.
Man, who's writing this stuff?
Okay, so I think if they, to be honest, if Doug was not voicing the cat character, I think it's the delivery. If you got a really funny guy who understood the comedic timing and performance better and just used Doug's scripting there, I think that might have crossed the line into funny. But I think Doug's delivery is holding it back. If I'm being, I don't think it's not doing it for me still.
At least it's not Zack.
Yeah, it is a cleanser, so we'll take it. So my refreshed palate. Yeah, we'll be doing a Knife Hand, I think, in a few weeks. So look forward to that, and I'm hoping
Garrison.
Yeah, that's the backup story. I'm hoping we get First Kill soon as well. Actually, I wanted to share.
I doubt that.
Well, I mean, look.
Yeah, because isn't Aaron Alfecci like have to draw the other 12 pages for that were added to the Jawbreakers Forever, and he's the main artist on the First Kill shit.
So here's First Kill. The last update he gave all the way at the end of February, and he says all interior art is complete, and they just went to lettering. So that's a few months ago. There's just
but he
remaining.
said the same thing about Jawbreakers 3, and it came out a year later.
So you guys are skeptical that the art is done.
He has OCD. You never know when anything is going to be finished with him.
And then when it's done, it just ships all of a sudden with like no announcement whatsoever.
Yes, pretty much.
Shows up in your box. All right. Well, I'm still, optimistic and hopeful.
How dope is it that he got Rambo though? Like Expendables was cool and all, right? But like, come on, Rambo, that's pretty dope, man. Gotta give the guy props on that shit.
He really dropped the ball not putting Rambo in the title though. Like I don't understand at all the logic behind that. So anyway, but yeah, it is awesome that he got the property. I admit.
No, not that one. This one.
Only Zack can spend years on lettering, says JEC. I mean,
I think he was waiting for like a certain story element to develop in his brain, and then he wrote it, or something he said on the stream. Like he just came to him, and then he was done.
Yeah, it was alternate universes. Like, how did you not think of that before?
It's like after watching the Spider-Man movie and the other shit, it came to me.
Yeah, the cartoon
multiverse. That's it.
Yeah.
Darko says it's First Kill, not Rambo, but it's Rambo's first tour of duty. It's Rambo's first kill. So, the first Rambo movie was just called First Blood. Oh, I see. It would be redundant, I guess. First Blood, First Kill. Well, I don't know. All right. Thanks, guys. So great having you on. Great sharing our discussion on this book and the after show as well a little bit. So thank you all.
I feel like we've all just shared a trauma.
That's why I wanted to do this stream. I need to share my pain.
We can all share a hospital room with adjacent beds. So when we're all in traction. But yeah, so Knife Hand coming up soon. Hopefully First Blood. That would be awesome. And stay tuned for more reviews. I've got Cecil's Cash Grab. So I got to put that together. And
that's actually an entertaining book about stealing from stores.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we talked about Nurkish and we even mentioned Cash Grab. So yeah, it's appropriate to follow up with that review. So look forward to that.
Poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah, exactly. Without the Jar Jar Binks. So stay tuned. We'll be back soon. Have a good night.